What's up, everyone? Before we get into the podcast, I just want to point out that this was a school project. So some of the stuff that I say in the podcast probably won't make sense because I didn't think that it was going to be uploaded onto YouTube. So with that in mind, I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. And if you guys like it, let me know in the comments and let me know if I should do more or not. Let me know if there's any questions that you want me to answer on other podcasts. And I really hope you guys enjoy.
I know you guys have just been sitting on the edge of your seat, waiting to find out. Oh, Brayden, what's ghost fishing? What's that mean? Are we catching ghosts? This is a fishing podcast. No, sorry guys. That's not how this works. Hey, welcome to the first and only, and probably last, R&B Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Brayden Wall. Today we've got some great topics to cover for you guys. Starting off, we'll be talking about robotic lures. Yeah, you heard that right. Lures that are robots. Hopefully they won't take over the world. Second topic is fishing in the fall. That's right, it's fall season. I'll give you all the inside scoop about what lures to use, fishing patterns, all that good juice. And last but not least, we'll be talking about ghost fishing, a topic that is new to me, but it's interesting, and I think the world should know about it. Alright, let's jump into it. So I've done some research on roboticlure.com, the official robotic lure page, and basically a robotic lure is a lure that is robotic. Pretty self-explanatory, not much to it. So when the lure hits the water, it takes 10 to 12 seconds and it'll start moving robotically. It'll look like it's swimming, like a bait fish fleeing around. Any hungry bass cannot resist a delicious, munchable sized bait fish swimming very sporadically all around. Some of the pros to the robotic lures is, well, their slogan, never buy live bait again. What a great slogan, because it's so true. If you have one of these things, you will never need to buy live bait. I mean, there are some stuff about live bait that may be better, but this thing is so realistic that it's almost like having live bait. Next pro is that it's very detailed. The texture and the painting and everything is so lifelike. Next, it's battery powered and chargeable, so you can just charge it up at night, bring it out into the water the next day, and boom, you got yourself a heck of a time. And last pro that I came up with is there's 3 different sizes. There is a mini lure size, which is 2.6 inches. There's a normal size, which is 5.25 inches, and the saltwater size, which is 8.8 inches, and man, is that a big lure. And then, along with pros, I also came up with some cons. One being the charging time. The charging time for this bad boy is about 1 to 2 hours. Yep, not bad, but the thing is, if you want to use it, it lasts 1.5 to 2 hours. So, if you go out fishing for as long as I do, which is multiple hours, you're gonna need to pack 2 of these and have one charging and one fishing at the same time, or just switch to a different lure when you're not using it. But if you have enough money, you could get 2 of them because they're kind of pricey. The smallest one being $33, the middle one being $37, and the saltwater one is $80. Kind of pricey if you ask me, but I mean, these things look like they work, so if you have ever used one of these, let me know in the comments below. I don't think there's comments on here. Never mind. Alright, on to the next topic. If you guys have looked outside recently, or at least just been outside, then you can tell that fall's a-coming. It's coming. It's almost here, actually. And that means fall fishing is on its way. Oh, goody. Fall fishing doesn't get much better than that. The weather is nice and cool. It's nice and it's beautiful out. Leaves are falling. Leaves are changing colors. Doesn't get much better. So, some things you gotta know about fall fishing. It's the weather and the fishing patterns. The weather, obviously, it gets cooler out. It's gonna get colder. the fish are going to be fattening up for winter. Going to be going after little bait fish, little creatures that they can eat up, and they're not too picky around this time. They just want some food. So, with that in mind, some of the best lures that you can use this fall: bigger topwater lures. Everyone loves some topwater blow-ups, and at this time, the fish are going to be fattening up. So, you can still catch fish on bigger lures. So, bigger topwater lures is one of the top baits you can use. Next is crankbaits. Shallow or deep diving, really doesn't matter. They'll munch those things up. Looks like a fleeing bait fish, and they'll just scrum-diddly-yumptious. The next bait to use would be an umbrella rig. If you guys do not know what an umbrella rig is, it's basically one fishing lure that has like 5 fishing lures attached to it. So, it looks like a school of fish, a school of bait fish. If a hungry bass comes and sees a bunch of nice sized, juicy bait fish swimming all together, boom, they're going to be munching that thing right up. And last but not least, for one of the best lures that you can use this fall is the jig. Classic jig. I mean, if you know how jigs work, just let that thing sit out there. If you're not catching mini stuff, switch to a jig. Boom, fish right on your hook. And just reiterating the fact that the colder weather will trigger the fish to move slower, to be more lethargic, which shows you that you should slow your retrieve. You may not be able to fish it as fast as you did this summer. So that's a really great thing to keep in mind. Next thing is birds. Just watch out for birds. Fall is typically the time when birds are going to start feeding on fish because they're closer to the surface and to the edges, and they're going to be more visible. So don't let your lure get snatched up by a bird. That would not be good. Stay safe.
Sounds dry.
Whoa, what's that? A change in music? You know what that means. It's sponsor time. Shout out to today's sponsor of the episode, which is the R&B Fishing YouTube channel. Yep, that's right. We have a YouTube channel. Make sure to go check that out after listening to the rest of this podcast. Got some juicy content on there. And we're uploading very constantly, or at least trying to. So, once again, thank you for sponsoring our video R&B Fishing YouTube channel. And we'll get on to the last topic.
Sounds dry.
And last but not least, our third topic is ghost fishing. I know you guys have just been sitting on the edge of your seat waiting to find out, oh, Brayden, what's ghost fishing? What's that mean? Are we catching ghosts? This is a fishing podcast. No, sorry guys. That's not how this works. Ghost fishing is a term that describes what happens when abandoned, lost, or discarded fishing gear continues to fish. I put air quotation marks around the continues to fish because they're not actually being fished. Anyways, it happens because commercial fishermen that go out there and use these big heavy nets, say they break them off when they're trying to catch some fish. It gets discarded, it gets abandoned, lost, it can get tangled up in reefs or just drift in the open sea, and it's usually invisible in lower light levels. So this is a big problem to our ocean life because it can choke coral reefs. It's not good. That can damage them and ultimately kill them. It can also damage marine habitats and get fish caught up in the nets, which you've seen those pictures. You've seen fish caught up in things. It's not pretty. It can also get some animals on shore, like birds and mammals and like seals and stuff like that, caught up in them. So, what you can do to prevent this is, well, there's not really much that you can do. I mean, unless you're a commercial fisherman. But if you see any nets like that out in the ocean, or lakes even, pick them up, throw them away, discard of them appropriately. And, yeah, let's help our ecosystem out. Let's make the world beautiful once again. Alright, thank you for tuning in on this episode of the R&B Fishing Podcast. probably the only episode of the R&B Fishing Podcast. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's listening. Shout out to Mr. Goff. Oh yeah, love you, man. And then make sure to tune in next week, if there is a next week, where we reveal one of the biggest secrets in the fishing industry. Yep, that's right. You'll want to make sure to check that out. One last thank you, and make sure to stay hydrated.